Jai Hind. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is my sixth lecture on the industrial engineering. Subject code KME 503. It is for BTech Mechanical Engineering, third year, fifth semester. So today I will be talking about facility location and plant layout. This is the second part of Unit 1, and it basically talks about how a facility location can be selected in a certain an environment where we actually wanted to establish a company or a facility, where we basically look into the facts that our needs are basically taken care of, and it's a place where we can do a business and everything will work according to the plans. So depending on that, we'll be talking about facility location, and then we'll be going to plant layout, where when the location is fixed, once the location is fixed, then we can always plan the layout. And this is something that is a long-term planning activity that needs a total vision and a right forecast, where we have to take qualitative decisions so that the planning is right and the location is rightly selected. So we'll be opening up this content, and we'll see how we can plan a facility location, and I can plan a site where we can do a right business with right production and right productivity, right? So this is Unit 1, Lecture 3, Lecture 6, and this is plant location and plant layout, or facility location or plant layout. This facility is also at times called plant. The plant location also is a synonym of facility, and so at times plant layout can be told at facility layout, and facility location can be told as plant location, right? So we'll start with the first topic, that is factors affecting facility location. So and slowly we'll go to principle of plant layout design, and then we'll go for types of plant layout, and then we'll go for computed layout design. So this is the course, and this is how we'll move, right? So today we'll be talking about factors affecting facility layout location, and then we'll also see a problem, and we'll see how this total facility location can be understood in a very lucid way, right? So the factors that affects a location, the factors which affect the facility location may be grouped into many categories. Some are as follows. There are a whole lot of categories that we can come into it, bring into it, and then we can see how the things can work out in this case, and we'll see how the categories are and what are the basic aspects or the factors that affects the location selection process, right? So process input is one of the important first category, in which we can talk about raw material, the personnel, the transportation of raw materials, the workforce availability, availability of water, power, road, rails, etc. So process input is something that talks about the raw materials and how these raw materials can be transferred to the location where I'm going to start my own company, or a facility will basically produce, right? After production, we come to this facility location, because this basically helps us to decide where we actually want to create our facility, right? Second is process output. Process out is market nearness, because once I create a product or manufacture a product, it's my duty or to plan in such a way that it can get sold in the market, and then it can easily get into the customers. So the market nearness is another point that is to be taken care of. Then the process characteristics, that is environmental factors such as pollution, noise, etc. Vendor, in case of the industries that we talk about, and then level of humidity and the seasons, rainfall and other things also plays an important role, because through this the processes of the system can work out. Like if I see any industry that actually works with say the factors that affects its production, like the environment, it affects its production. So it is always good to see to it that the environmental conditions are checked before we basically select the location, right? The next point is personal preference. So this is preference of executives or the entrepreneurs. So there can be some personal preference also that plays a vital role, because suppose the person belongs to North India, he will try to make a company or select a location that is near to his, and it is his personal preference. So personal preference also plays a vital role. Then the government policies also is important, tax exemption, legal requirements, incentives, availability of land and etc. Because this is very, very important that the government policies are to be checked. At places the cost of the land is very high. There are some rules, there are some processes which needs to be taken care of, because policy is very important when I select the site, right? Next thing goes is local commodity conditions. Local conditions, basically the community culture and the attribute. There are history of the industry located in the area, incidence of labor unrest in the area, political interference, etc. So this thing we have seen in India also. We have seen that some places are not very much preferred by the companies to start their setups because of the community culture and the other attributes. There are some incidences that generally happens in that area. So being into engineering industry, we have to make sure that the setup is very, very stable, and we have to work on these factors also. So local conditions also plays an important role. Next is cost factors, the cost of land, cost of transportation, wages of the these labors are very important, that how much we have to pay. At times the place where I select, the labor cost is very high or the cost of land is very high. So we should avoid giving too much high cost in the site before we actually produce the things. Once we establish ourselves, maybe we can shift to a places where the land cost is higher, maybe, and the places is good, right? Competition is location of other industries in the area, market forces for competition, etc. So we have to also see to it that there is no competitor in the nearby areas, because if there is a competitor, then there is a chance of your product not getting sold off very easy. So we have to see the competition also, and then the intangible factors like international considerations, room for expansion and growth, and then schools, churches, and medical facilities, recreational facilities for the people who work there, right? So these are all the factors that also work. The good schools should be there, and there's some considerations from the other part of a point of view also, that there are right airport near, and then people can come in and then collaborate with you. So these are the factors. These are around 9 factors that we talked about. There are a whole lot of other factors also we can consider. Now we'll take up this is a bit in more details, and we'll see how the factors affecting, what are the factors that are affecting the facility location. So factors affecting the facility location, in general, following considerations are needed in a plant location decision. So nearness to raw material source, this is very important. The raw material input, these are all the inputs that are taken care of. So nearness to raw material source, nearness to market or consumer, good transportation facility, availability of labor, both unskilled and skilled, at comparative prices, wages. So this is very important, that at comparative wages is very important aspect here, where we basically talk about skilled and unskilled labors. Both the types of labor should be available. Availability of fuel and power, availability of water, cheap availability of land. This is very important, that land cost is basically high. So we should see to it that if I am going for a big setup, so the cost of the land should not be very high, right? So these are all the setup that government is also using. There are some zones where you basically can start your own companies, and the cost is subsidized there, right? Now we have got suitable climatic conditions. This is also important part that we have already seen, and the climatic conditions plays a very, very important part when we see to it that the climatic condition affects the product that we are producing. The materials that we are storing should not get damaged for any climatic reasons. And then availability of subcontractor, industrial climate, and organized industrial complexes. So these are the very, very important aspects. When we actually try to start a facility and we search a location, we have to see to it that the subcontractor or the industrial climate is important. The organized industrial complexes are to be there before we actually establish our own company there. Community receptivity of the business. The community should accept the business that we are doing there. The construction cost is also playing an important role. Quality of life, that is the other factors which are actually intangible, but it plays an important role when you actually call up the employees there. So if they don't have the right housing and they don't have the recreation, they don't have the schools for their kids, so that will play a negative role for the company if we establish there. So good employees will never come, good personnel will never join your company. So taxes and government regulations also plays a very important role. We should see to it that the cost should not go very high, and we should not pay very high taxes to the government, because of the if a competitive chart is made, and then you can check these things out, and we'll see a problem in the end where we'll actually consider all these problems and make a decision model where we'll see how things works. So site for waste disposable and environmental regulation should be also there. So these are the 14 points which basically are the factors of affecting a facility location. Next is 4 case details we have taken up, making sure that we check the things. Why Bangalore? Like we see why Bangalore is being selected as a hub for creating softwares, and it's a place where lots of companies came up. So we have got some reasons behind it that why this has happened, right? So we have taken 4 companies and some case details we have taken up. So this Novel company, it is a subsidiary of US based Novel Inc. So they established the year of starting of this company is in 1994 for emerging Silicon Valley of India required software talents available, easy to attract new talent from any part of the globe. So how they feel now about their decision in this site. So once the decision is taken, now they can understand what they have done and what is wrong, what is right. So what they wrote is, since last 4 years, Novel Bangalore has established its credibility as the quality product or organization. This is in 1998. This data is in 1998. So in 1994, 4 years they are telling. Now it is around 20 years around, right? To 1994, 2004 and 2022 now. So around 18 years we have crossed, around 17 years we have crossed. So if you see these last 17 years, Novel Bangalore has established its credibility as the quality product organization, planning to expand its operation in Bangalore. So they are also planning to expand their operations. If I talk about Tata IBM, early 90s, Bangalore is helpful in attracting top IT talent to meet customer satisfaction. The government of Karnataka has encouraging outlook and supportive means. This is a very important role. The government is very helpful. The system helps the people to stay there and do their job, right? So chances of joint ventures and government support in spreading IT message. Good decision as the company is continually growing above the industry rate. Improved infrastructure expectations is more direct international connections. So they believe that they had taken a right decision by selecting Bangalore as their facility location, right? Now this is Compact India. The Compact India, the availability of vast pool of IT skill, no problem attracting as well as retaining quality talent. Availability of support industry and services at reasonable cost. Bangalore continues to be the real IT city of India. So this is again Som Mittal, the MD of Compact, is saying that it is Bangalore continues to be the real IT city of India, right? So Texas Instrument, if I talk about that, in 1984, they, after assessment of 9 potential locations, they selected Bangalore. So best high-tech climate, presence of world-class education institutes, unique quality to attract professional talent. Today it is the largest R&D center of IT in the Asia and among top 3 R&D centers outside Asia. Friendly government support, worked closely with the government and Department of Electronics in formulating business and friendly software technology part is STP, and this is also told by the Srini Rajam of the MD of Texas. So here what we have seen is that they have considered all the points and all the parameters to select a facility location, and they are happy now that they have decided that. So that is what we have to do. We have to see to it that the location is selected rightly, so that the site is rightly selected and the every other aspect is taken care of before we basically establish a company. It's a long-term planning. Always remember, it's a long-term planning and it needs some qualitative inputs from experts, and this type of things are to be checked before we establish a facility location. Now, we'll come to a problem. This is something that basically clears up the total concept and how numerically we can work it out and see how a facility location can be established, right? So we'll see to this problem and we'll see how things actually working with this. If you see the problem for XYZ company, 5 alternative sites are selected for possible location for possible location of its plants. These are city 1, city 2, city 3, city 4 and city 5. Management hired a consultant group to help on the site location. So, this if you really see, this is a, so this is something that we have to see, that this is a job that is done by consultant group, right. So, the consultants prepare a list of factors that affected the location. They did this by asking the managers and executives of XYZ company. Now, this is XYZ company, and 9, if you really see, 9 major issues were identified here, right. So, 9 issues were identified here. If I see these 9 major issues, right, which basically are to be taken care of before we actually plan the location. So, here if we see, we have got these factors at A2, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H and J, right. So, first one is nearness to raw material sources. Second is transport facility and logistics support. Sorry, use my fingers. So, figures, and then availability of water and power, adequacy of labor, and this also done. Quality of life like market, school, recreation, and then competition in the local market, nearest to market, incentive from financial institution and cost of land. So, if you really see, these are the 9 points, and then the consultant made a pairwise comparison of all the 9 alternatives. They give a score of 1, 2 and 3 to every 36 comparisons, that is 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the scoring scheme of this comparison done as follows. So, we will see that how this comparison is done, right. This is a process by which this comparison is done. When the comparison is done, the way we do the comparison is nothing but, this is if the factor X scores some major factor as compared to factor Y, then it is X3. So, if I really see that if the factor X scores a major factor as compared to factor Y, then we will see it as X3, and if the factor Y scores a major factor as compared to X, it will be Y3. So, this is something that we have to do, either X3 or Y3, X2 or Y2. So, these are actually what happens is, if I am comparing, say, I am comparing A with B, right. If I am comparing A with B, now A has a major score as compared to factor to B, right. If A has a major score in comparison to B, means I have to give A3 there, right. The X3 is something that says that, see, if I have comparison between A and B, what I will do is, if A has a major score over B, then I have to give a marks of A3. If A has a medium score in comparison with B, I have to give A2, right. And if A has a minor score compared to B, then I have to give A1. And the other way around also works. If B is having a major score and is better than B in this case, in this factor, then I have to give, say, B3 in that case. So, we will see the problem and see how things actually works out here, right. So, if we really see, we have got, So, if I really see this here, what happens is, this is something that we have to do, and we will see how the factors are being like checked out and how things actually works out here. So, with this, we will go to this factor here. Now, we see that there are around 8 factors that I have. Right, I have got 8 factors. Actually, I have got, if I see, there are 9 factors that I have to select, and I have got, I have to compare between these to all these factors here, and then I can see how much percentage it has scored here, right. If I see A now with A, I compare B, I will compare B, I will compare C, D, E. If I compare A here, see, if I see A here, if I see A here, this is A. So, with A, I compare B, with A, I compare C, with A, I compare D. Now, in this case, if I see factor A and factor B is having a major impact on factor A, has got a major impact on B, right. So, A is better, A is more important in this case. So, what I have done is, we have made it A3, right, we have made it A3. Here, it is A and C, it is minor, so A1. If this is A and D, it is A3 here. Here also A3. Here is A and AF. If you see, AF is having more impact on that part. So, it is F2 here, like this, it is A2, here it is again A2. So, A is overpowering in all the sectors in other with other factors, right. A plays an important role here. So, all these A's I can find out, right. Now, what will happen? There is a score that I can find out here. If I see the score, it is A3 is 3, I give 3 marks, right. For A3, I give 3 marks, for A2, I give 2 marks, for A1, I give 1 mark. So, if I add this one, you will see 3, 1 and 3 and 1, 4, 4 and 3 is your 7, 7 and 3 is 10, 10 and then this is 4 and this is 3. So, if you really see, it is 17 here, right. Like this I will see. So, I take suppose E. What happens with E? What happens with E is, in this case, there is a slight change in factor. What we see is E is here E2, right. And also when I do this, I have to also check the fact that this row is also taken up, right. When I add this, I add this row and this row also. So, here is only E2, so it is 2. If I see F, say here, if I see F and if I see here also, it is 14 here, right. So, if I really see, it is 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 3, right. This is 10 and this is 1 plus 3 is 14, we have 14, right. So, like this we go and we get a total marks. If I really see this, now this is a very easy understanding about how the factors are basically compared, right. And this is a comparison done by experts. The experts are the people who have got experience in this field and they can easily understand which is getting more marks on the others, right. So, when I see this marks, what I will do is I will make a percentage also here. I will calculate a percentage here. Now, this percentage is nothing but it is a 14 by 78, right. It is 14 by 78. If I see it here, 14 by 78 is 019. So, if I really see the percentages, now I have actually marked all these factors into a percentage. So, this much percentage, these are the weights that I have created here. So, with these weights, I can easily find out that how this location decision are to be taken. Now, in the next slide, I will see how it happens. So, these are the weights, you remember, these are the weights, and now we will do what? We will take 5 cities and we will see what are their actual impacts. Now, what will they say is, all the 5 cities are given a weight of Aij on a scale of 0 to 100 for each factor A to I. This is done on the basis of extensive field survey, a questionnaire and an interview of experts in this area. Following observations are observed. So, this is how we actually plan the layout and how we actually understand how the location are to be selected, right. So, last slide, this slide basically speaks about the 5 cities that I need to compare now. These are 5 cities. Now, city 1, if I see, I give in the case of factor A, I give with a complete information. What I do is I make sure that I give city 1 a marks of 70 out of 100 in the factor A, and the percentages that I have taken out are the weights. If I see, this is WJ and then AIJ. So, if these are the marks I have given to this, right, this 25, 65, 90 and so this data is nothing but it's a addition of summation of this into this, right. All these are factors are being, weightages are being multiplied and then they are added here. So, like this I can take out all the data here. We can see all the data is being taken out. Now, with this it is a very clearly we can understand that city 1, if I take factor A, say factor A, in the city 1 it is 70, in city 2 it is 40, in city 3 it is 100, city 4 it is 70, city 5 it is 55 and like this, and all the factors per city, all the 5 cities are compared and they are given marks by the experts. And depending on these marks, we can take a final decision that which city is the right location for my facility, and this basically plays a very important role. And then these factors, if I really see these factors, so the A is basically nearness to raw material source. So, A is playing a very important role. If you really see in the percentage also, A is playing a very, very important role. The cost of land is the lowest one. Availability of water and power, adequacy in the labor availability, competition, all these factors are there. These scores are given. And then finally, what do we see that, if you really see it here, that we see maximum marks in the A is given here. There are 100 marks also. Everywhere there is a 100 mark that you can see, few except few. So we understand that like this we can actually decide on the location that we want to select. So depending on this total table, we can see that looking at the last column of the above table, CT3 scores. Now this scores the highest marks, right? This is the highest mark that it gets after the analysis of this rightly, and then we can now decide that no, CT3 is the place where we should locate our facility. So this is a very comprehensive way of handling the facility relocation problem. Facility location problem is a long-term decision, and always remember that this cannot be reversed. Facility location decision, if we reverse it, there is a whole lot of cost that comes into picture. Even when you talk about planned layout also, it's a long-term decision, and we have to make sure that it is rightly planned and there is no reversing of these decisions. So these decisions plays an important role, and we have to make sure that the decision that we take are foolproof and there is no reversing of these decisions. So with this good thoughts, I would like everyone to like, share, and continue seeing our videos, and this will be helpful for you to understand the plant facility location decisions. And the next video I will be talking about plant location in details, and we will see how plant location is being decided, what are the types of plant location and how we can actually do it. And then we will also go for computer aided plant location, where we can plan the location plant layouts in right way, where we can see how the layout is planned so that the machines are rightly kept, the output is taken out. And then we will talk about lots of types of production system also, which we have already talked before, like the types of production system, and depending on that, what are the plant layouts that we see. Now the location concept is clear. I think we can do some problems. You can see the books, and please take out some problems and do it by yourself. If you have any problems, please feel free to write in the comment box. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.